Hey guys, Michael here from youtube.com/therevivedone, and if you haven't subscribed, I suggest you do. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the next generation iPhone. I think this is going to be called the iPhone Pro or iPhone 3G Pro, depending. But again, I don't have any inside information. I just, from reading some rumors and so on, that's what I've come to expect the next iPhone to be. Now, I've showed you the 3.0 software on my iPhone 3G before. And I mentioned that I didn't think that it really met Apple's standards in terms of revolutionizing or innovating the industry like the original software and like the 2.0 software did with the App Store. So I think that's where the next generation hardware is going to come in. Now, WWDC is in June 2009, and that's probably when this new iPhone will be released. Now, just looking forward, depending on when you're watching this video, there will be a WWDC 2009 prediction video and probably a recap video too. I usually try to keep you in the loop with that in that regard. But this video is just about the iPhone Pro and what I think is going to be in it. So number one, I think we're going to see faster speeds in this overall. AT&T has been updating their network to that 7.2 megabit per second speed, and they have plans to go speedier in the future. So I think Apple is going to introduce a radio, an HSUPA 3G radio that's capable of, again, that 7.2 megabit per second speed, as well as a 802.11n wireless card. That's probably going to be the Broadcom BCM 4329. And what's really cool about this, besides 802.11 speeds, is that it also has FM transmission and reception in it as well. So that'd be really nice. I'm not sure if Apple would implement this or not, even if they use this particular chip, but it would be really cool if you were able to not have to have an external dongle and just have an option when you're playing the iPod function of your iPhone, just to have it transmit over the FM so you can pick it up on your radio. The accessory manufacturers probably wouldn't like that, but I think it would be pretty nice to have in your next generation hardware. Now, one of the biggest gripes that everybody had with the iPhone is that the eyesight. It's pretty weak compared to the competition. It's a 2 megapixel camera. There's not a lot of functions with it. It doesn't do a great job. So I think we're going to see a 3.2 megapixel camera, and this will include video capture, video messaging via MMS, as well as autofocus and flash. And I think it'll even give you some more functions when you're taking the picture to mess with the white balance and so on and so forth. And going on with that, I think we're going to see video editing on board. And I think this is one of the things that could really revolutionize, where the software may not be that awesome, may not be that innovative. Having this function, which will be software-based, but having this function in the new hardware would definitely innovate again, which would keep Apple just continuously climbing that ladder. So I think we could see video editing on board, and onboard video uploading, so you have options to share it with YouTube and upload directly from your device. And again, via MMS on the software, you'd be able to send it. I think we're also going to see, because you'll be video editing on here, we're going to see a bump in the storage capacity. So now 16 gigabyte will be the lower cost model, and the 32 gigabyte will be an option for somebody that wants a little bit extra, a little bit more space, and a lot of people want to go for that. I think we're also going to see an improved graphics processor and an increased CPU. I think they're really going to try to increase the architecture of this device, make it really powerful. They've been hiring a lot of game developers to work for Apple, so I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to be having a whole gaming department. I'm just saying they probably want to make their mobile platform a little bit more powerful in that regard. So I'm not really sure what the graphics would be, but I think for the CPU it would probably be the Marvell PXA168 ARM mobile CPU. And what's really special about that is it runs at 1 gigahertz and consumes low power for extended battery life. I think with this CPU you'll also have full-featured web surfing, multi-format video conferencing, we'll get to that in a second, and Adobe Flash-based content playback. So I think this is more of a wish, not as much of a think, but I wish that if they put this new CPU in, then they'd have some sort of awesome announcement saying, by the way, Flash content isn't revealed, you can play Flash content on your iPhone. That would be really nice, but that's not something I expect, that's just something I would wish. And a bigger battery is also something that I expect on here, because if they're having these new functions, the battery right now is a little bit cheesy, so they'd probably need something more. But I talked about video conferencing that this CPU could do, and I think that's something that we're going to see, video chat with a front-facing camera. There have been some patents that is leading to evidence that I think there's going to be a front-facing camera. So I think we're going to see, again, that new 3.2 megapixel primary camera, as well as video editing and more functions when you're taking pictures to edit maybe the white balance, just stuff that a camera would have. And then video chat. AT&T, again, has been expanding their network, getting more bandwidth on there. So I think video chat would be something that would be, again, another revolutionary thing, or at least innovative, something that we don't see a lot in the market today in a mainstream device that everybody has. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I also think they're going to use a smaller enclosure, just a little bit thinner. I think they may change the physical looks of the device a little bit, and hopefully it's non-glossy, because I have a case in here. I think I've only dropped this twice. It's fallen out of my pocket, and I haven't even been standing up. Just when I was sitting down, it fell out of my pocket. So I would use a case not necessarily to protect it from drops, but to protect it from scratches, and I still have some scratches on here. So if they were to go non-glossy back, I think that'd be really cool, and maybe have some different colors as well. With the colors, that's, again, something I wish, or something that probably won't happen, but just something to keep in mind. Another thing I think they're going to introduce is voice control, and that would be voice synthesis and voice recognition, codenamed Gibbler. Rumor sites have been calling it that. This would be really cool, because voice control is something that we haven't had on the iPhone, besides maybe a Google mobile app. But I think it'd be something that would be really useful and handy to have built into the powerful iPhone software. Because now that you have universal search, if you could just hold this up to your ear and say, "Search Michael," and then pull your head away, and it would show you everything in that search function, or it could speak it back to you. So maybe you could say, "Call Bob," and it would start ringing with the conventional implementation of it. That would be really cool as well. Now, I also think they're going to put in a magnometer, also known as a digital compass. Now, this will be a 3-axis magnometer that can determine your absolute position. So it's like GPS to the extreme, and accelerometer to the extreme as well. So it can give you the exact pitch, all that. Now, what will this actually do? Well, this could be used so you could, let's say you're pointing your iPhone at a building. Now, it could tell you what that building is using the GPS, accelerometer, and compass information, and then it could overlay graphics on top of the image to provide you additional information about the building you're looking at. Maybe what companies are in it, what those companies do, contact information, etc. Now, another implementation of this could be is if you were looking up and you were pointing at the stars, where is such and such constellation? Well, what you could do is it would have information about the stars and constellations, and it would give you what you're pointing at, and it could overlay directions a little bit, tilt left, tilt right, change the pitch or whatever, and then it would show you where the particular constellations or stars are that you're looking for. So having this little thing in here would be really convenient, and again, it would add so much usage out of it, because again, you're not sure exactly where you are. You have GPS. You're not sure exactly what building you're about to go into. Oh, bam, I know exactly what it is. I have a digital readout of it. I have all the information I need on top of it. Oh, let me turn around. Oh, another building. Same information on the fly over the faster HSUPA 7.2 megabit network. Now, there's something that's a little bit weird. Inside the 3.0 software, they found references to an iPhone 2.0 and an iPhone 3.0, or excuse me, 2.1, 3.1. Now, the original iPhone appears as iPhone 1.1, and the 3G is 1.2. So what does this mean? This could mean that you have a high-end version and a low-end version, not just the difference between the capacities, but you could have a high-end version and a lower-end version. I'm not saying that we'd see an iPhone Nano type thing. I'm just saying that maybe for different regions you'd have different things. And a man by the name of Daniel Amir believes that this means, and this is a quote, that a low-end version may only be available in the fast-growing emerging markets of Brazil, Russia, India, and China, while the high-end version is expected to make its way to North America and Europe. So it wouldn't necessarily affect us in developed countries, but in places where, you know, the economies aren't as good, or they're just they're emerging, essentially, they're an emerging country, you know, they would still have an option to have an iPhone, and Apple would be able to saturate that market with something that the people of that nation could actually use, could actually afford. And basically, they'd be able to tap a smartphone market that really hasn't been tapped before. So that's something to think about. So again, those are just my predictions, what my expectations are for the new iPhone, which will, although we don't have confirmation, I'm telling you right now at WWDC 2009, we will see an iPhone Pro. It may not be the same name. They may just call it iPhone. They may call it iPhone 3G Pro. You never know with Apple. but those are my expectations for what the next generation iPhone will have in store.